Now, in the last video, I taught you about positional and keyword arguments. However, sometimes when you're making a function, you might not know how many arguments you want to give it at different times when you call it. So let's take, for example, if we wanted to make an addition function that adds up any amount of numbers that we give it, and then we'll return the total. We can do that with keyword arguments. So we could say num1 equals 0, num2 equals 0, etc, etc, etc. So then if we ever give off only 3 numbers, not 100, any other numbers would have 0 as a default. So when you add it together, it would still work. That would be incredibly time consuming, incredibly inefficient. And if you've got to write, let's say, I don't know, 1,000 of these out, that's quite a long way of doing this. So what we want instead is we want a way of passing over lots of data and it to store it as a data structure, which we've gone through before. Now, if we've got that data in a data structure, we can loop through it, we can access items, etc, etc. So to do this, you've got two options. You've got args and kwargs. So args use a multiplication sign, and then you write args. And just show you what this would look like if I do print args. When I call this, I'm going to pass it lots of numbers. Okay, so we'll do 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, which if we add these up, they should equal 45, I think. So if we're going to do this, when I print out, just so we print out the data structure, you can see it's all put them all together. So it doesn't matter if we add less. So if we took one away, it would still work. So because it's a data structure, we can just treat it like we would any other data structure. And hopefully you recognize that with these brackets here, that's a tuple. Okay, so that's meant to be immutable, but we can loop through it. We can access our items based on position, etc. So if we wanted to add all these numbers up, we would do something like total equals 0. We would then loop through all of the numbers in args. So we could do for num in args, and we would add each number to total. So we do total plus equals num, and then for now we will just print out total. So when I run this, that is 45, brilliant. So when I run this, it's working for however many numbers I pass it, it's going to loop through and treat them all the same. So this function now works for varying amount of numbers, which is brilliant. Now, args is really, really popular and really common. But sometimes just having a data structure isn't enough, and sometimes you want to have lots of different types of data go with different reference points. So that's when you might want kwargs. So kwargs, we're going to have to use a different example for this. So let's go back to our very simple welcome message. Let's get rid of this. So what we could have here is we could have kwargs. Now kwargs, you need 2 multiplication signs, and then you write kwargs. And now these are basically saying keywords are going to be passed to you. So let's show you what this looks like first, and then it will help you understand how it works. So if we were to call this welcome message function, and now we want to pass it some data. So we're going to need to pass it based on a keyword. So we're going to say fname equals Bob, age equals 50, he's got older, and sname equals Bobbington. So now we've only got 3 bits of data, but they all have a key or a variable or a keyword, whatever you want to call it. So when they get past here, we can reference that data by keyword, but there are other ways of referencing that data as well, which is why it's important we print this out to see what it looks like. So when I run it, you can see it stored it in key and data pairs, or key and value pairs, which hopefully if you've watched the previous videos, you'll recognize these squiggly brackets means it stored it all in a dictionary. So it's a different type of data structure. Now we can still loop through. So I could do for item in kwargs, so kwargs.values, print item. So if I run that, you can see it's going to give me every item that's in there. But if I'm just looping through like that, I'm not sure why I needed in this example to use kwargs and not args, because args would have given me these 3 values in a tuple. But if you want to sometimes maybe loop through them or search through them based on the key, not the data, or for example, you wanted to do a combination where sometimes you're printing a message. So I could print out a message and I'll do hello. Oh, don't know why I'm shouting. Hello, and then we'll want first name and then surname. So this is going back to previous video, but to access something from a dictionary, I need to say the name of the dictionary, and then in square brackets, I would reference the key. So my key is F name. Okay, but I need to put these in string as a string. Now, this is going to teach something else new. If I do that, let's just do first name to keep it simple. If I do that, we've got an error going to go on here. Okay, and the reason being, what I've effectively done is I've opened a speech mark there, and when I use another one within it, it's effectively closed that string there. So the way of getting around this, if you ever want speech marks inside speech marks, is leave the double is good practice on the outer speech marks, and then you can use a single one on the inner. Okay, now when I run it, you can see it says hello Bob. So it's done that, and then it's looped through here, look, and loop through each item. So I could continue this, and I could do space, I could do kwargs, and then I could do S name, and it says, look, hello Bob Bobbington. So by passing it over as kwargs, I can access it by key, or I can loop through it as normal. I can loop through the keys or the values, or every way you would typically use a dictionary, and watch the dictionaries video if you haven't already, otherwise this will have been really confusing. But any way you want to interact with the data as a dictionary, you can do if you've passed them over as kwargs, and then however long that data is, it won't matter, because the dictionary will just get bigger, and you can just call it like this. So this will become more and more useful the more advanced our programming gets.